In about five, four, three, two, or shoot, one. Yep, and we're starting.
Good.
Yes, we're good.
Welcome to Living by Oak Values, where we don't just talk about values, we embody them. We are here to unlock what makes us stronger men, fearless leaders, and unstoppable humans. I'm Gary, Superior Mailman, and this isn't just a podcast. It's a mission. And we're here to keep it real,
One.
raw, and
Yep.
ready to rebuild. If you're tired of playing small, if you're ready to reclaim your identity, your power, your purpose, then lean in because this episode could be the spark that changes everything. Let's dive in.
And I'm Rob, and today we're talking about value. Um, the one that is one of the most powerful forces in your life. It's the game changer. It's the line you draw in the sand. It's the non-negotiable standard that you bring to every room. It's the silent strength that speaks before you do, and it stops you from shrinking. It is refusal to settle, and it dares the world to meet you where you stand. I'm talking about the quiet, powerful force inside you says, I will not abandon myself to be liked.
Self respect is the root of how we speak, love, forgive, and move through the world. Whether you've been with us from the start or you're just tuning in, welcome to the crew. Grab your free Next Level Dad packet and stay updated at northmancoaching.com.
And today's guest is Stephanie, a woman who has learned through the challenge and triumph. She has lived through it, fought what it truly means to have self-respect. And she's here joining us to share what it is to
Right.
stand tall, especially when life throws her curveballs. She's a mom of three boys, and she's working to start a real estate company. And so, welcome, Stephanie. Thank you for joining us.
Hi.
And we'll start off with the first question. How do you define self-respect?
I define self-respect as a sense of dignity, um, of who I can be as a person and how I can feel good about myself um, and those strengths and uh, just what I can, how I can view myself in a better light, in a better way.
Hmm.
So
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. You're next, brother.
Oh,
You got the next question.
well, we didn't change the colors of them anyway. All right. So Stephanie, was there a time where you confused self respect with ego? Where did she go?
She left us.
Okay.
Yes, this will happen sometimes.
Where do we go from here? This is a good one. This is a challenge for us.
Yes. Okay.
So Rob,
Yes.
was there a time when you confused self respect with ego or pride? And if so,
Yes.
how did you tell the difference?
Um, because I was not really taught what respect was. I
Mm,
didn't know what self-respect was.
okay.
And so, yes, it was my ego. It was my pride when it got hurt. I thought it was my self-respect getting hurt. Other people's respect on me hurt my pride too, hurt my ego. When somebody did something against me, it hurt me. But
Okay.
now it doesn't matter what people do to me, it doesn't hurt my respect, especially for myself.
Okay.
And I think Stephanie jumped off.
Well, she's off.
But
We'll just keep rolling. Whatever. Don't
yeah.
worry about it.
Oh,
Let's just keep.
okay.
We're live, dude. Let's keep going.
So how about you? What boundary did you set that changed your entire life?
I would say a boundary that I set that changed my entire life was saying no to things that no longer serve me. Uh, But most recently, I set a boundary that I will not be talked down to. That you will not disrespect or discredit the work that I put into myself. That's my most recent boundary. And how did it change my life? This is interesting because so I've had this chronic knee pain for
You were
years.
telling me. Yep.
And when I set this boundary, I felt so at peace. And the next day, my knee stopped hurting. I don't know. Go figure. So,
Mm.
Rob, when do you know if you are betraying yourself, even in small ways?
I feel guilty. I hear the air condition, so you might want to cut it off.
Sure, I'll sweat to death.
I
I'll
do
betray
too.
myself.
Yes. Actually, I feel guilty, or I feel like, yeah, it's like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. Or I do something where it's like, I shouldn't have done that. Next time I know better, because I just haven't a tingling feeling inside that says, that wasn't quite right. Next time, don't do that. So
Okay.
sometimes I have to check in with you and say, hey, Gary, was this the right thing to do, or was I just my ego ahead of my self-respect?
Okay. So on that note, why do you check in with me? What is it that's saying I better check in? Is it that you
Because
don't?
sometimes it's not about, sometimes your ego is too big that you can't see if it's blocking what is self-respect versus what is like a pride.
Okay.
Yeah.
So instead of going back and forth, you can ask me the next question in a second, but
Okay.
I want
All right.
you to tell the listeners what was it like before this work with your self-respect? Just give a brief rundown of what your
I
self-respect looks
don't
like.
know, like I told you earlier, I don't know that I had the proper understanding of respect to
Hmm.
have proper self-respect.
Or what is all right? So right now, what is the proper understanding of respect?
Well, they can go back and listen to the previous episode on respect. We had a
Okay.
conversation about this on respect. But it falls down to, once I understood respect, it took a fall through the mud, scraping my knees, bloody ankles, and practically uh, coming back, walking through hell, like we talk about.
Mhm.
Before you understand that respect isn't something that, especially for yourself, it's something that you give yourself.
Okay.
And people can't really take it away.
Got you. So respect is something you give yourself. Does that mean other people give it to you also?
Well, they give you respect, but they don't give you self-respect.
Well, that's obviously if it's self, that has to come from you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
is respect earned or is it given? And I know we went through all this. Just
Yeah.
one liner. Give me a one liner on that.
Well, you said it was going to be my turn to ask the questions, but
Sorry. Well, you didn't delve into what I asked, but okay. You want
well,
to fight?
I was actually not trying to delve into what you were trying to ask,
Okay.
because it comes later on in the questioning.
Okay.
But at the same time, I was answering it because your question says, I didn't have respect for myself beforehand, and now I do.
Okay.
And that's the best way to describe it. You don't know what self-respect is if you never were taught how to respect yourself.
Right. Okay.
Uh, it is something that, I mean, what is respect to you?
Self-respect or respect?
Respect.
Respect is to adhere by someone's boundaries or standards. What do they require of you?
Uh, y-
If I respect you, I am respecting your boundaries, your standards, whatever, until you've given me reason to not respect you.
so does self-respect work in that same fashion?
It does, but it's exactly backwards because now it's all about you. And you have
Right.
to give yourself that respect.
You have to give respect, but do you lose it if you don't earn it?
No.
Mm.
Do you lose respect if you don't earn
Because you
self?
asked me, is respect earned or given? And respect to other people is kind of both. It is earned and sometimes it's just given. But is
Okay.
self-respect work the same way? And I kind of agree with you. I agree that it's given. You give it to yourself.
You
But do
have to give
you
yourself,
earn it?
you have to give you self-respect. But others, I give others respect, but then they have to earn it once I give it to them. I don't off the bat disrespect you. I respect you, your thoughts, your feelings, your boundaries, all that. But off the bat, but then say you don't follow through being the man that I think you are or whatever. Then I start to lose respect and you'll have to earn it back. So I
So why
respect you,
does
but then
that
you steal from me or you lie to me. I will lose respect for you.
so why does that not work with self-respect?
Well, you can't really steal from yourself. You can definitely lie to yourself.
You can lie to yourself, you can steal for yourself, yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think how do you earn self-respect for yourself though? I don't
If
know.
that's a good part of it is sticking by your boundaries. You earned your self-respect that way.
Okay, that's fair enough. I got that.
Because if you start sticking by your boundaries, then your self-respect is going to say, "Hey, you're one heck of a guy for sticking by your boundaries. Do it again tomorrow. I'm proud of you."
Okay, I got you. Fair enough. All right, back to
So,
the questions. Now you're losing me.
well, I mean, that was a good analogy. Self-respect versus
Mhm.
respect.
Regular
So,
respect.
um, we're gonna start with number 5.
Go for it.
What unexpected lessons?
No, that's not going to work for me.
No, it's not.
That
Well,
question does not work for me.
well, what unexpected lessons have you had about self-worth and respect that come from raising a child?
Um, what less I've, or that's a good one. So while I was married, I don't think I had little or no self-respect. And my daughter saw that. And it didn't even phase me until I was divorced and on my own and doing this work that I realized that, and I talk about this all the time in my videos on TikTok and stuff, that kids learn not from what you say, but from what you do. And if
Mm-hmm.
you are acting with self-respect, your kids will have self-respect for themselves and they'll respect you.
Mm-hmm.
So, an unexpected lesson that I learned about self-worth and self-respect from raising my daughter was that if I show myself self-respect, she will have self-respect for herself and respect for me. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
saying, like we've talked in the past about how you were raised, and I don't know, maybe I was raised the same way. I don't really know, but I don't recall my dad ever saying, "You better respect me, boy." We just did. But we've had people that we talk to that that say that I'm your father. You better respect me. But if you just show yourself self-respect, especially in front of your kids, they will show you respect and they'll respect themselves.
So how do you teach it?
You teach it by acting it, by doing it,
Mm.
by having self-respect, by not letting people cross your boundaries, by standing up for what is right. What was the other thing we said when we first started doing this work? By returning the shopping cart to where it goes, even in the middle of the night in the rain when nobody's looking. Always do the right thing. If your kids see you do that,
Mm.
they should
So
follow through.
you were talking about how you were setting boundaries, and it kind of felt like it set you free.
Yeah, absolutely
So
did.
how did self-respect change the way you show up in relationships? And I know the particular story, but I want you to kind of expand upon it because the boundary that you set was not just in one relationship, but it was in two relationships.
You might have to help me on that one. I don't know which one you're talking about. I've set so
You
many
set
boundaries in the past couple weeks.
the boundary you set with the first woman, Carrie,
Okay.
and the boundary now
Okay.
you are
It was the
setting with.
same boundary for the most part.
Yes.
Yes. So I was dating this woman a couple years ago, and she had spoke poorly of my daughter's mother in front of my daughter,
Mm.
and that is something that I will not stand for. So we had broken up, and let me take a step back. That I said I would not stand for that, and it actually took me a couple of days to end the relationship because I was on the fence. And then I realized that by allowing this to happen, not only will it happen again, but I'm setting a very poor example for self-respect and respect. And I couldn't have it. So I had to end it.
Mm.
And yes, I was set free. I didn't even realize how free I was set until I was going to have a conversation with my ex-wife, and she spoke poorly of me in front of my daughter,
Mm.
which in my opinion was worse than my ex speaking poorly in front of my daughter about someone that wasn't even there. But to speak
Mm.
poorly about me in front of my daughter, that crossed the line. So I set that boundary. And like I said, the very next day, my knee stopped hurting and I truly felt free.
Mm.
Did I answer the question? That was a long
Yeah.
one.
Well, no, because you showed how that same boundary you used and it used it twice.
Yes.
Was it easier the second time? And
It,
did it make your self-respect feel better?
I don't know what that means. Make my self respect feel
Did
better. It,
do you um, do you think
it,
you
good.
earned better, more self-respect?
Absolutely. For myself, absolutely. I also feel like it really set in stone that it was a boundary and not some stupid rule.
Mm.
The fact that it was, there was a 2.5 year gap and it was the same exact thing. And it triggered me and I had to, put my foot down, draw that line.
Gotcha.
So Rob, what advice would you give to another person that is stuck in a relationship that is draining them of their self-worth?
I would say you need to examine your own self-worth because letting somebody drain you means that you're putting too much expectations on that other person. And what if they don't respect you as much as you should be respecting yourself?
I like that. So you're saying that if I'm in a relationship and the
Hmm.
person is draining my self-worth, that would look like to the outside world that I have no self-respect.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
So the more
Or
self-respect I
low
have,
self-respect.
or
Yeah.
low. So the more self-respect I have,
Hmm.
the harder it is for someone to drain my self-worth.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So to the listeners out there, if you are in a relationship and you feel like your self-worth is being drained by your significant other, you should look in the mirror and ask yourself, do I respect myself?
Mm.
And if the answer is yes, and you truly respect yourself, then that person should not be able to drain your self-worth.
Yes. Um,
Question 9 is not going to work either.
no, yeah. Actually, I was going to, I like the analogy of looking in the mirror.
Okay.
Um, because there's a story that's written in one of our books as, and I can't remember what book it was, that you will only allow yourself abuse from other people as much as you will abuse yourself.
Absolutely. What book is that? Four Agreements.
No, it's not Four Agreements.
But yeah,
Unfortunately,
that's
yeah,
true
it
though.
is not. But at the same time, it's the same with self-worth or self-respect. We're talking about self-respect. You will only respect. You will only let people knock your self-worth as much as your self-respect is as much self-respect as you have. So it's
Hmm.
almost like a level.
Okay.
You know? You won't let people knock your self-worth if you have a lot of self-respect and vice
Right.
versa.
Right.
So,
Same thing we just said.
yeah. And so find ways to gain more self-respect. And how would somebody do that, Gary?
By standing their ground, by setting
Mm,
boundaries, by holding the
mm,
line, not caving in. Um, how do you get there? So I have, and I know you do too, but I have an accountability mirror,
mm.
and I got that idea from. I have the book somewhere. I don't know. David Goggins, don't you can't hurt me. I think it is.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So he has an accountability mirror, but he is very. Hmm, if the listeners read that book or listened to that book, you would he talks down to himself, really down, and that's what motivates and drives him to do better.
Mm.
Uh, I my mirror just tells me that I own my stuff. Um, I own the pen to write the story, so no one else is writing my story. So just my accountability mirror just reminds me of who I am. But if you just write down things on this mirror, like you are good enough, you are worth it. Repeating those things, and I'm not a big fan of what are those called? Affirmations. But it's a good start. If you repeat that you are good enough and you truly believe it, you will start gaining self-respect.
Another thing that we don't always mention as much as we should anymore is to know your core values. If you know your core values and you're working to live by them, it will help you know and to gain more self-respect.
Mm, yep. It's funny because actually, if people are listening now that have listened to this from the beginning, the very beginning, you would know my values were definitely authenticity. I can't remember what the rest of them were. That was my number one value. But I tell everybody they change as you change. And authenticity will always be my number one value. But my number two and three right now actually are self-respect and spirituality.
Mm.
And when we first started this, spirituality was out of the 68 values, it was probably right around 67.
Yeah.
um, it is now it's fight between two and three now.
Wow.
So that's
Yeah.
the more you can have you can know your values today. And as you grow, your values will change to
Yeah.
reflect your growth.
But even as you learn about values, they change. Everybody goes, "Hey, I already know my values and they'll never change. I'm always this one value."
Hmm.
But then you realize as you learn about all these values, and we've delved into, wow, we're at 60 already.
No,
60
we're not.
values.
Are we
We're at
really at 60?
60 values. And I can tell you, there are been more than 10 that I have just loved. And I can say, I want to know more about that value.
Oh, we are at 60-ish. We jumped around a little bit because next week's 55.
Yes.
But
Anyways,
whatever though. But wow, we've come far, huh? Huh.
yeah.
All right.
But also small steps. Don't rush it. Self-respect takes effort and practice. Practice and practice.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not one that's easy because you'll mess up and you'll be like, "Ah, I shouldn't have said that." And then the next day you don't say it and you say, "Whew, I did it." And then the next day you don't do it. But then you might mess up again and then vice versa. But slowly over time, you'll be in the habit of where you don't let somebody else's words or outcome affect who you are.
Yes.
Yeah. It takes small
So,
steps.
so to the listeners out there, I want to remind everybody that self-respect begins when you stop abandoning yourself to be accepted by others. And I would call on all the listeners out there, whoever listens to this tomorrow or Friday, to discover what values represent you right now and start respecting yourself. And as you respect yourself, you will find that people will respect you more. So,
Mhm.
and that is a wrap for today's episode. But don't just listen, live it. Self respect isn't handed to you, it's claimed, it's earned, and it's built by the choices you make when no one is watching. Every moment, you're casting a vote. Am I rising or retreating? Am I honoring my worth or selling it short? So make the vote count. Stand up, speak truth, show up for yourself like your life depends on it, because it does. Until next time, live strong, live aligned, and never forget, you are worth showing up for.
Hey, and tag us at Oak Values. And no matter where you are on your journey, keep walking and keep tuning in because self respect starts the moment you stop trading your truth for someone else's approval.
And this week, don't just live by Oak values. Lock them in, breathe them in, and become them. Because because when you embody real values, you don't just change your life. You elevate everyone around you. Need a breakthrough? Don't wait. Book a one-on-one session and let's help you master your emotional state, your mindset, and your mission. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow me, Superior Mailman, on TikTok for your daily shot of real talk and raw wisdom. We're not here to play small. We are here to transform. And brothers, the Motivated Men's Group meets every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hit the events tab. There's a fire at the table, and the seat is waiting for you.
And big things are coming, and we're now just getting started. New episodes, unfiltered guests, conversations that cut deeper than ever. We're going to live more, louder, and bolder. Got a story that would shook your world? A value that redefined your path? Speak up. This next chapter isn't just ours, it's yours. Let's build it together. Uh, hashtag Oak Values. Oh, and hashtag us at Oak Values.
Until next time, stay grounded, keep growing, and above all, stay authentic. And next week, we have a very special guest for you. It is Cliff Shuffler. If you haven't seen him, he's on TikTok. He is CF Shuffler, I believe, but he goes live every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 9 p.m. Eastern Time. He's a life coach. He's a motivator. Check him out. But he will be with us next Tuesday. So we will see you soon. Have a good night.
Should have put